Sairam and Namaskar to everybody. Good evening to that part of the world from where you are, it's evening. And good morning to some of you who are in India. Uh, Thanks to this medium of technology, it makes me feel so close to you. So this Sairam is coming truly to all of you from your own heart. Uh, in every sense, I've always felt each one of you to be the closest reflections that one has of Swami. And to me, you are not many, but you are just one, and that one is Swami, and that one is me too. So in every sense, I would like to start by saying Sairam and Namaskar to you from your own hearts. That is what one's life has been, and that is what Sanjeevani has been. It is a touching moment that we are now in when what is happening around the world in possibly every country which has been affected by this pandemic of the COVID-19 has been a feature and fact and has occupied both our mental and physical space to a great extent. If anything, these have been times, I'm sure, for each and every one of us, times of reflection, time to meditate upon, time to think, if not by choice, by force, you've been made to sit and reflect on how suddenly very ephemeral or how transient life is. This was always a truth that was told to us from time immemorial, but enunciated ever so well and so ardently by dear Swami that life on this planet is and has always been transient. It is just that a fact of life makes us get attracted and get engaged in what we do, that we start believing that what we are doing and our existence here in many ways is taken for granted. If there is one shakeup that has come certainly to everybody, in whichever degree that might have been, has been the transience of life. Uh, One has to lose life to know the value of life. For somebody like me who lives day in and day out, where you see the battle of life being fought, you get a different perspective of life. You begin to appreciate life. You begin to appreciate what life brings to you. The joy now of me getting to see each one of you, the joy of speaking to each one of you, the joy I'm sure in a short while to hear of you, to feel your love, to feel my love. What a blessing life is, you know. This is what life gives in terms of the varied opportunities and situations it places us in. And it is such a blessing to count life in our breaths, in our moments, is what defines and values life, you know. I've always felt, dear sisters and brothers and young ones, that like Swami, if you take one steps to Swami, Swami takes 100 steps to you. A reflection of Swami is life, you know. You take one step to life, and life will also take 100 steps to you, you know. Life is defined by situations, by the people that we meet and engage with, and eventually leading us to the purpose of what we see as our life to be. If you see, life is really divided into this, you know, every moment we are in a kind of a situation. It is a situation of a struggle. It is a situation of joy. It is a situation of a family function, a situation of an official duty, of business to do, or a service activity to do, or just sit and meditate. So life is just filled with these situations. Sometimes you're doing nothing. And even inaction sometimes is very, very concerted, meditative, reflectful, purposeful action. And life has been, as a society, a social integration. None can exist on this planet without integrating with each other. We meet, we greet, we engage, we work together, we intend to work together in varied ways with people. With people, we get perspectives, we get new ways of thinking, we understand how they view things, we see their perceptions, their attitudes, and there are all learnings from this. So the moments that we are in now and the last few days, if anything, have been of intense reflection, because in many ways, this has been a tremendous turning point in life, certainly for us here and to me individually as myself, as to the Sanjeevani ecosystem, I would say. Yes, we constantly work. This is a feature of Sanjeevani that we are constantly at work, saving lives, making lives happen, preventing disease, improving wellnesses in societies, especially again in young women and pregnant mothers, in little children, and so many other features and facts which are necessary for what is called a happy, healthy, and prosperous life. Like God remains unseen and does everything, in fact, in many ways, Sanjeevani also, I feel, is beginning to be that. You don't get seen, but then you're constantly at work to see that everybody is well, happy, and able to do what he or she can do. I've always felt that when you go about this journey called life, you must always give yourself no choices. Sometimes choices spoil us or choices divert us. The moment you tell yourself that you have no choice but to do what Swami wants you to do, but to do what your heart tells you to do, suddenly you see you're on that golden path. The ability to stay on that golden path of being good, of seeing good and doing good, it does not matter. It could be a singular journey. You could be just all by yourself. But the innate hunger and the choicelessness that you must see good, you must be good, and you must endeavor to do good really defines the way we should live our lives. These times, yes, have all the more put us onto that great focal and inflection point that we must lead a life without choice. If anything, it has shown that suddenly life can have a number to it, and that number can just flicker away like a candle at any point in time. How do we then make the most and get the most learning out of this situation? It is more than obvious that suddenly humanity has become so connected. Suddenly everybody's well-being, everybody's safety, everybody's happiness has become a personal agenda and a personal purpose. There is suddenly a connect between every single human being and species on this planet. Think of that as that great moment which Swami has always been teaching us, of the unity and the unison of all existence. It took this pandemic virus to bring that in a cruel form to us. Suddenly, life has become very fragile and very much at stake. For no apparent reason that the human eye can see, a life seems to just go away. Suddenly, when those numbers grow in hundreds, in thousands, in countries which are far and wide, in populations which are dense, suddenly you see that there is something very, very serious at hand. The reality of it was always at hand. It was when it had to show up and manifest that we had to really come to grips with it. And sometimes a call like this or a wake-up call like this certainly alters our thinking, our approach, and our attitude. We are so immensely grateful to Swami that he has already been teaching us, guiding us, and truly mentoring us on these facts and features of life. But then this is a call for action. This is a call for doing something which has not been done. This is a call when you have to serve the unserved and then you will do the undone. What have we been doing in Sanjeevani? The pandemic has also hit India in a big way, as you would know. And suddenly, this connectedness has made Sanjeevani, in my view, a hospital without walls. If anything, I have thought that the ecosystem of Sanjeevani henceforth should be health for all without walls. It should be no more love to those that come to Sanjeevani, but it should encompass and embrace everybody and take us to that great level of consciousness which Swami wants us to have, which is love at the speed of thought. You think and you must feel love and you must act on that feeling and great emotion of love. Suddenly you will see all walls are falling off, all barriers are falling off, all denominations are falling off, and there is only love which first comes as thought. And when love which comes as thought travels at the speed of thought, which was, as said, is faster than the speed of lightning. When love can travel and be made to travel with concerted effort at the speed of thought and lightning, suddenly you have a new way of life, a new order. Sanjeevani ecosystem wants to be that. Health for all is wellness for all, and it is also protective measures for all. Suddenly, when there are no walls, we all work towards each other's well-being and wellness. An ecosystem has to be created today, not just to be prepared for pandemics, but also enhance the purpose and the reason why we are here. The problems that we face, the situations that we are in, constantly give birth to possibilities and opportunities. It has been Swami's way of teaching us that every situation throws up a problem which gives rise to an opportunity. Look at the way Swami goes about his work. Either it is educating, the power of educating, the power of good thinking, the power of right thought, the power that comes in result as right action, of doing good, of bringing all the energies that God has given you for the welfare of your co-brothers and sisters, which is his highest teaching of education. Now, what a charged mind with a burning fire of an ideal within him or her can do, only time can tell. What it will result in terms of national good, societal good, communal good, and world peace and good is something which only time can tell, the seeds of which Swami has sown. In health and in nutrition, which are now more than ever becoming very, very critical, as somebody rightly described, today health is being viewed as a warrior class. And I've always felt that from day one, healthcare workers are truly warriors, because it is my favorite quotation that an army protects the boundaries of its country, and a healthcare worker truly protects the citizens, the children, the parents, and the mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters that exist within the boundary of a defined geography or a country. They are warriors too, because they face all situations. They have no choice. They have no choice but to give it their all to save a life. That is the power which has now come about. That is the reality where we are seeing that hospitals world over, healthcare world over, suddenly has undergone this paradigm shift wherein they have truly and most correctly been defined as warriors. What is a warrior? A warrior has no choice. I have no choice but to see that that baby on the table or the baby on the gate, that life has to be saved. I have to give it my all. I cannot give an excuse. I am not entitled to it. I am not given that luxury, and that is what I enjoy. That is why I am thrilled about it. That is my fight for life. That is my life. And that is the heartbeat of my life, which is the heartbeat of every single member of Sanjeevani, of Swami. The great message of Swami is the heartbeat of that little child on the table resonates with every heartbeat of everybody who has love in his heart and has welfare of the world deep within. It does not matter where you sit. It does not matter where you are in this world. It does not matter what capability you have, but you have a heartbeat. And the heartbeat resonates uniformly with every human being alive and with every species alive. And that is why Swami is arousing in each one of us the warrior within us. We are here up for a fight. We are here up for a fight for global well-being, for global wellness, for global happiness, for global unity, and for global purpose to reach it what really should, which is oneness amongst themselves and the fatherhood of God. And the Sanjeevani ecosystem, this is incidentally not a film that I made, David and Jenny. This was a film that the government made a couple of days ago when work started with us, when we linked up congenital heart disease amidst the pandemic COVID-19. How does a child heart hospital work amidst this pandemic was what they wanted to come and film. I thought it could be useful. In fact, I honestly have not seen the film myself, and maybe you get to see it. It just gives you a view, because this is just a perspective of how you rise up to an occasion, how you take up a fight on hand, and how you do what you're supposed to do, which is called in the line of duty, but many a time way beyond the line of duty. I will salute, I will give my heartfelt gratitude, and I will give my namaskar to my Satya Sai Sanjeevani team, who have put service before self, life at stake of the child and the families before their own lives. To don PPEs, that is the personal protective equipment gear, to get completely sanitized, to maintain social distancing, to maintain time distancing, but take care of children, of families who have come from far distances to tend on them is an act not only of great service, it is an act of bravery, it is an act of a warrior. Not one, but tens and hundreds of children are being cared for in the pandemic situation. This is a new learning even for me and for us, which is what we spoke about in our internal deliberations. Come what may, whatever situation life throws at you, you take one step. There have been so many learnings to us. And the joy is when you take that one step to life, life, which is a reflection of this great universe, is so giving. When it waits for you to take that one step, irrespective of what happens around you. And when you take one step, my dear sisters and brothers, Swami in the form of universe and love embraces you. He holds you to your heart and speaks the language of love. He suddenly deshackles the fears and bondages that you have, and the new you comes out. If anything, these are moments when we will rediscover ourselves. We will find new energies, new strengths, which we never had glimpses of. It was rightly said, cometh the hour, only then cometh the man. It is only in extraordinary situations that the extraordinary people in us can come out. In normal situations, it will always be normal, and your approaches and attitudes will be normal. The ability to pick the extraordinary, the ability to pick the unknown defines human progress and human greatness and human endeavor. And when this becomes a mission of the divine, when he wants us to rise up to occasions, this, my dear sisters and brothers, is a training program, is an education program in practical life education. So whatever life throws at us, we have to rise up to it. The ability to not to say no to life. You could have always gone into the comfort of safety and said, oh no, I couldn't be doing this. Oh no, I should not be doing this. Personal safety alone matters. Whoever said personal safety should not matter? That is the most important thing. Unless you are safe, you can never serve. Unless you are safe, you cannot do what you're expected to do. But within the realms of safety, realize, as was taught to us by Swami, that life remains and always will remain, whether we choose to see it or not, as a battlefield. We are here to fight the battle of life. Sometimes the battle gets intense. Sometimes the battle gets too strong. It is not that you're not up for the battle. It is just that you have to find your strengths that God has given you to face this battle. To us, it has been, yes, a problem, but a learning of tremendous opportunity. My dear sisters and brothers, so many opportunities have come up in this period of how we should upscale, how we should innovate, how we should disrupt the ways we are doing. What we've been doing, I will just share with you. We spoke amongst ourselves and we decided Sanjeevani has touched over 125,000 families in 27 countries and from every part of India. So we decided ever since this breakout happened that we will contact through a visual format or through an audio format every single family, find out their well-being, find out about their welfare, give them do's and don'ts about what they should do, find out how they are faring in this testing period of time. This has been such a learning. It has suddenly thrown up so many opportunities wherein they have felt and resonated with this problem and wanted to give out goodness and service to so many others in society. Suddenly there was a spiral of goodness because a seed of goodness was sown when the child was saved in Sanjeevani. Suddenly there are Sanjeevanis everywhere. It is not, you must know, there are only no 3 Sanjeevanis today. There are Sanjeevanis where every child or every family has come is a Sanjeevani today. Every child whose heart beats is a living Sanjeevani, and that living Sanjeevani has more power than a Sanjeevani which is made of brick and mortar, of cement and wall. That is a live organism. It breathes the life and the energy of God within them. And when God works with a life that he chose to save, God bless this great world. Truly, my dear sisters and brothers, God is at work. This is that great moment in time. It is so nice to see all of you, though I can't see all of you, but I can see you through my mind's eye, and certainly through my heart. I am so filled with love that I think whoever is watching it, I would just like to embrace you with all my love and tell you we are one together in love. We are one together, that we have found each other as sister, brother, friend in this moment. We are one together in this great journey of life. We are one together to share each other's joys and sorrows, our highs and lows. We are one together, most importantly, in the love of our dear Swami. That is why we are here, and that is why we want to make our life every moment, by every breath, worthy and proud of our dear Swami. Much is going to be happening. So much I can see in front of me is going to be happening. So much good is going to come out, and such an example is going to be coming out through Swami and the work he's doing, through all of you in particular, through each and every one of you. Be sure that a great destiny of the world is written. The challenge, of course, remains, and the challenge is right now in front of us. So with this, and with the prayers from my heart for each one of you, for your safety, for your well-being, and for your welfare, I fold my hands in Sai Ram and Namaskar. Thank you so much, Jenny, David, and the rest of you who chose to do this. It has been an experience for me to share my love and my warmth to each one of you. God bless, and Sai Ram.
Sai Ram Srinivas, thank you so much. I do have a question for you from a lady. And the question is, how can we overcome fear of death and of losing our dear ones?
That, yeah, I think that's a that's a question I can resonate, certainly, as most of you would know. The question was fear of death, and how do you overcome a situation where you lose a dear one? The fear of death is a reality, I think anybody would be lying to say that he has no fear of death. It could be given to a very, very few who could make a claim both from their heart, their mind, and their selves that they have no fear for death. And in many ways, the fear of death should become our great learning. That fear should teach us that A, we have to begin to find strength. B, we have to engage in prayer to get the necessary strength to face up to it. And C, understand that this will be the reality. Like Swami has always told us, the greatest teacher of life is death. The only certainty of life is death. We see this, of course, in the work that we do, but like it is told in heart surgery. In fact, this is just an example to maybe substantiate a point. One of the world's finest neurosurgeons from Japan, a renowned neurosurgeon, in fact, neurosurgery is spectacular in Japan. A great neurosurgeon spoke about what constitutes or comprises or makes a great surgeon. And he answered this particular question. He said, a surgeon, irrespective of which field he is from, or whatever his capability is, his years of experience or his several hundreds and thousands of patients and surgeries he's done, the great surgeon is one who understands that the next patient who's going to be sleeping on that table will be him. And he will have to face the uncertainty of life and death. When you know you're all on the constant operating table of life and death, you will know what life is. Suddenly, our visualization, reflection, and meditation on this concept called death will slowly help us understand it. I personally, yes, to bring up, and I would have to do it because I lost in one way Shrimai. Shrimai was my only child. She was my daughter. She was my great friend in helping me build Sanjeevani. She was my sounding box with whom we would talk about what we should be doing. She was a doctor herself, an anesthetist. And suddenly one morning I learned she's not there. So here was it that you lose somebody, and in a way, in a physical sense, she was all that I had. She was something who was pretty much my life breath, and suddenly she's not there. But today she is there to me every moment. As I speak to you, above the screen is a photograph of Swami and her, and I see her smiling, and I speak to her constantly like I speak to Swami. And that is when you realize that you have no choice. Sometimes you have to find an answer by telling yourself you have no choice. You will have to go through pain. You will have to go through suffering. You will have to go through what life throws at you, but be sure that life will give you back something far more. Now, to me, Swami wept when he heard of Shrimai passing away. And he said that all you can do is see everything and everybody and every child in her, or see her in everybody. But that was a consolation, certainly. I mean, one even knew about it. But that is how life is. There is no second chance there. You're going to be living with this. This is going to be a fact of life. All I can submit is from somebody who's gone through this journey, who's been there, done that. You have to find your own strength. And the only strength, like they say, comes with folded palms and bent knees. When you go down on your knees, when you fold your palms and look up and let tears flow by, let you cry, you weep and let God see that. And you will see a new strength, a new light, a new energy coming. And suddenly life is different. And like it is said, there is no death, but only a shift in room. And suddenly, everywhere you have that same person. And that is the reality. You have to find your own answer and way for it.
Thank you, Srinivas. That was very beautiful, Srinivas. There's another question saying, we feel full passion when we hear you and Swami, but it fades away until we reconnect and see him again. How do you keep your level of passion consistent?
As I said, you have to tell yourself, you have no choice. You have to be rude to yourself. You have to be strong on yourself. How long are we going to be telling ourselves that, that this is the energy level that is high when we hear Swami? Yes, that is there. But one day we just have to grow up, See, that is again the expectation that the world and Swami has of us. For far too long, we cannot make an excuse or we cannot give a choice to this. You just have to do it. I mean, you have to give yourself no choice. You will have to find ways of maintaining energy. This is something which is purely personal. You can find ways of constantly getting inspired. Yes, but I need it myself. The moment you tell yourself that this is what you're born for, this is why you take every breath, this is why you're living today, suddenly you will see you lead a different life. Now, energy, passion, and intensity, these are words, but then you can just be doing what you're doing. You can go for a film, you can go out, have fun, but still you're doing everything with that same energy, the same intensity, to live that same purpose. There is that great alignment that you ultimately should be doing what you're meant to be doing and what is to fulfill your purpose. And once you make that a reality, there could be a wave. Yes, everybody could have a wave, but you will never ever lose sight of the purpose. Tell yourself, I must make myself worthy of Swami. Now that should fire you up. I am alive because of Swami. I must bring glory to Swami. As Swami has said, my life is going to be reflecting his message. My life is going to be reflecting him. Now that is a huge responsibility. So let me do all that is required. Let me cultivate all that I should cultivate to do that. Let me find answers to this. Let me become worthy of this. Now, here is a great demand of you. It is not given to all that life makes a demand like this on you. And here is Swami making a demand, none other than great Swami making that demand. What a great fortune that is. What a great blessing that is. And how are we going to let go of that? Not for the love of anything will you let go of that. It is not given in a lifetime. And we've just gone through that. Life is so ephemeral. Suddenly somebody can be a victim of the pandemic. Suddenly we could be sitting here as a congregation to give our respects for a soul that we lived with. It could be one of us. But suddenly we also have this great opportunity. Have fun, be happy, but live your purpose, live your dream, and live this great responsibility Swami has given us. We have limited time and we have no choice. Put yourself that way and great work will be done by Swami through us.
Thank you, Srinivas. We have another question. Is the stress of this virus causing even more stress on the families that are coming in now? And how do you help them with this?
That has to be true, See, the word, for want of any other word, there is a stress, yeah, stress of varied varieties, stress for patients, stress for patients' families, stress for livelihoods, stress for daily needs, stress against psychological depressions that come about in these periods of time, stress against not able to access basic needs of healthcare, not just the pandemic, anything else for that matter which relates to health, financial stress. What do we do about tomorrow? How is tomorrow going to be? What is life going to be after this? How are we going to recover from the shocks that we have gone through? It's a reality, there is no running away from it. All I can see is you're again left with no choice. I mean, what does one do? So I only have to tell myself that we cannot crumble under stress. We'll have to thrive on that stress. We'll have to make the most of it. So fighting a battle is now becoming a reality of our life. It seems to be that if you finish one battle, the next one will come about. So it's a question of being battle ready every day of our life now. It could take varied forms and varied shapes, or it come in varied ways to us. So it's going to be a reality. And the reality is that the battle can be happening in another country, but then even we are affected. So stress is certainly there. So that, as I said, gives rise to opportunity. So you're constantly thinking of others' difficulties, others' challenges, and what is it one should do to mitigate them, to address them, find new ways. So which is where, for instance, in a direct answer to that question, we've gone into virtual health, to telehealth, to telemedicine, teleconsultation, tele-impact assessment, tele-psychology counseling, telehealth improvements. So these are all measures where, thanks to the technologies that we have and the digital world that we live in and the smartphone devices that we have and the prevalence of the usages of these devices, today look at this platform. Barring touching you physically, I can relate to you, I can resonate with you, I can feel with you. And suddenly when there is an equation of love that is between both of us, there is a beautiful experience that is happening, which we are using and trying to make maximum leverage of. So stress in that sense is mitigated. But yes, we are an institution of surgery. So surgery cannot be done virtually, it has to be done physically. So we can only give them means and measures of taking care of themselves, which is of course limited, because if pandemic is a critical scenario which engages in a final stage in critical care, congenital heart disease is predominantly critical care. So I'm quite sure, unfortunately, many children must have died in this period. In fact, if you go by statistic, the number of children who died for congenital heart may be far more than the people who died of the pandemic COVID-19. But be that as it may, a life is a life. It doesn't matter. It is something we are concerned about. So stress can only give you lessons and learnings on how do we now work to address it. That is what we can say, which is what we've been doing here.
Thank you, Srinivas. Another question is, will you be opening the other hospitals as well to do the same restricted surgeries, or will you just stay with Raipur for now until the whole thing opens up again?
Yeah, this is based on the lie of the land and the situation in the country and the states that you're living in. Like, this is specific to every part of the world. There are highly affected areas which I think are now called hotspots. So hotspots are areas where a population is dense and there is possible symptomatic evidence of the pandemic. So the government of India, in this case, the Ministry of Health and the state governments have identified several areas of what are called red zones, orange and green zones. So mercifully, in the 3 centers that we operate in, Raipur is the safest of them all. Safest primarily because the center in Raipur is tucked away in a corner, and so far there have been no surfacing of cases in this part of where we are. Uh, and there has been strict regimental controls over movements of people over district borders and state borders within the country. So there is no movement of people, except that patients have been coming through special permissions given by the district and the state authorities for critical care. So that is how patients come to Raipur. But it is again an admirable act of courage and love. Imagine patients, even in these conditions, braving, patients, we get patients, 3-month-old babies, 5-month-old babies have come traveling 1,000, 2,000 kilometers. It speaks of what life really means to families, when you make that kind of a distance travel, when you're not sure whether you should go 10 kilometers to do something. And here are families who travel that distance. So perforce you're necessitated to be doing what you're doing. We are constantly at work watching. You might also know we have been asked by the government also to be in battle readiness to convert ourselves to a COVID hospital, especially Mumbai, because Mumbai, Maharashtra, as you may know, is amongst the worst hit of the pandemic. And the given populations of Mumbai, if anything, are unfortunate exposures to this problem. So that is something we'll have to wait and watch. So we're just ready, we have our hands up to act on the call of duty or on the call of the state or as to what we should do. And most importantly, it is something that one must tell you with pride is the team is entirely ready. We have drills going on how do you get to work in such situations, how do you ensure total safety and sanitization of yourself, of you ensure that at no point over continued work in situations like this, there is that danger of inflicting that dangerous pandemic. So these are measures you have to take, and extreme caution is being taken in that. So, but having said that, see, the difference here is, we always work in a war scenario. See, that's a difference life puts you in. When you constantly work in a war scenario, you're subconsciously battle ready. So the threat of a onslaught of something like this becomes that much more expected, and you are ready. So it may not be easy for everybody to resonate to this, but then that is what happens by virtue of the work that you do. So the point now is work will be predominantly in Raipur, and we should be getting to surgical work very soon. Even the government is very keen, because in fact the government themselves have been referring patients to us. So we are looking at ways and means on how, because of course that some of you in the medical line or who are aligned there would know doing congenital heart work in pandemic condition is a very different level of a challenge, but we are up for it and measures are being taken. Very soon, even in Palwal, it could happen. I can't answer anything right now because it's all based on a day-to-day basis. But certainly Mumbai might take a little time given the stringency of the lockdown and the density there. But anything can happen, even as I've just said what I've said.
Thank you, Srinivas. I have another question for you. How is it possible for Sanjeevani hospitals to provide totally free healthcare? We are told Swami has taken huge amounts of loans to provide this service. When 2 more hospitals will be built in India, the capital required to run the hospitals will be mind-boggling. How do you manage the funds?
One is least surprised with this question, and it is a question that needs to be asked. I would say that, and I'm quite sure it is a question very often uppermost in many minds, because this defies any any kind of logic or reason or even sane human behavior in a world that we are expected to understand. Now, that is where one can only subscribe to this being a leap of faith. There is no other convincing reply that one can give. The challenge of economics or funding is one very, very crucial, critical example. None can deny or dispute the importance of money or funding to run free care. Now, what has been the journey from the day we started to now? Like Swami says, he sees the past, the present, and the future in one vision of his. He sees the task done even before the task is conceived. Now, that is certainly Swami. What is it you can do? You can surrender and accept that as a leap of faith. If you think too much into the future, this kind of work will never happen. You must be prepared to live for the day and fight for tomorrow. You must be prepared to do the best and do all that you can through body, mind, and soul, and through all the powers of the heart and the mind today, so that tomorrow could be better. That again is the power of faith, and that is the power of will. If you ask me how tomorrow is going to be, I may not even have an answer. But can I choose to then go away and say, I cannot be doing this because I have no answer for tomorrow, or I'm going to allow the children of tomorrow to die? Now, that is where I have to tell myself I have no choice. And that is how Sanjeevani tells itself it has no choice. What is life? You can succeed in life, and you can so seemingly, like the word says, you can lose in life or you can fail in life. What is there if you supposedly fail even here, which is not going to happen? I'm quite sure about that, and more than sure about it. And once you embark on this journey, my dear sisters and brothers, I mentioned this, you take one step to life, life mysteriously takes 100 steps to you. Unknown people, unknown segments of society, friends out of nowhere, sisters and brothers you had never known of, suddenly spring out of nowhere. And that is the power of the universe, of God, and of Swami. Somehow the dots are all there, but we did not see it because our eyes cannot see it. Suddenly you see the answer to a problem which you slept this night thinking you're not going to see a solution, but it comes. It all, fortunately or unfortunately, boils down to faith. Can you be dumb to be accepting faith? Again, I will have to submit to you, I have no choice. I have to only say, can I say no to Swami, that Swami, I cannot do this, I have no choice? No way, that's not how I am made. That for sure, I have full confidence. I've never known no with life or with Swami. And in a battle, you're not given that choice. A battle in an army field is a different battle. A battle in Sanjeevani of building hospitals is a different battlefield. Now, look at the integrations that are happening. Now, this is something which is an experiential journey, Suddenly necessary wherewithals, new synergies, new collaborations, new engagements, new ways of doing things, new economic modelings, new sharing modelings, new friends and partners in crime and in the service that you do are emerging. Suddenly there is a bigger expansion than the problem in terms of support of the problem. All this happened because you took that leap of faith and took that one step to life. Now, is that a guarantee that you have the necessary wherewithal for the other centers and the 7 centers worldwide Swami is speaking about, and the 250 centers worldwide he's speaking about? The answer may still be, I do not know, but it will happen. How it will happen also, I don't know, but I am game for the journey and I have no choice about it. be sure, when you're on the journey, things will keep happening. It's an experience. You'll have to just leave everything and get onto the battlefield. That's all that I can say. Now, whether you're going to come back from the battlefield, all of you can pray for me. That's how all you can say about it.
Thank you, Srinivas. We have one more question. And the question is, along the journey, many battles seem to be lost and one shrinks in. You seem never to be phased. Where is this energy coming from?
I'm quite sure all of you know the answer. It's simply one word. It comes from Swami, and it comes from Swami breathing through you. I can see that same answer even for the person who made that question. Very much, you are it too. Swami is you, and Swami is now proud to be you. And what a blessing that is in life if you are considered proud by Swami to be him. And when you are that, energy is a natural, because God is energy. God is nothing but energy. I'll just leave you with that. Sometimes life here gives you, where does that energy come from is a good question. And maybe we'll close with that. There was this family a few days back when, it's a very common feature in Sanjeevani. Even yesterday in COVID times, there was a mother traveling 1,000 kilometers from Raipur, taking her baby with special permissions, a baby who was fighting battle in the ICU for, I think, 20 days. She was so pleased and blessed that she was taking back her baby, which she never ever thought would happen. So there was this mother who came to me and said, sir, look at this baby. This is your baby. For a moment, it's a normal statement which is often made, this is your baby. So I just smiled, and then I usually have, now it's a feature, I take out a chocolate from my pocket and then give it to the baby if it is at an age to eat that chocolate. So then she again says, no, sir, this is your baby. I smiled and said, yes, sir, in that sense, yes, it is my baby. नहीं sir, ये baby is yours, ये आपका ही बच्चा है. So I said, the smile got bigger and I said, yes. And then she said what she meant about it. Sir, this baby died, but it was born in your heart. This baby got life in your heart. It is your baby. That is the source of my energy. That is Swami to me when a baby gets life in my heart. Sai Ram, dear sisters and brothers.